everyone, Kate here for part 3 in my 100 life-softening books series. Looking forward to telling you about 10 more books. And the first one is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. This was the November Kindred Spirits pick, and it was just a delight to be back in this world. I know that the character of Toad, he's very foolish and kind of ready, fire, aim, and his you know, he's not the easiest character to read about, but I think if you just kind of embrace the nonsensical nature of the story and just embrace the coziness of these animals taking picnics on the river and being really delightfully snug in their houses with all of the supplies they have for winter and the adventures that they go on, I think you can really enjoy it. It just has some beautiful descriptions of the natural world that make it such a rewarding read for me. And I can't recommend this book enough. I love it so, so much. Okay, the next one is Cranford. And you know what? I will grab it so I don't have to put the picture in later. Here's Cranford. Go in expecting a quiet book. This is Elizabeth Gaskell's most quiet out of her books. And it's all of these little happenings that add up to kind of a bigger something. And it is a book that it does kind of catch me off guard with its quietness the last time that I reread it. But I do think slowly but surely something bigger builds. Also, I love learning from Elizabeth Gaskell's letters that this was the only of her books that she would reread. She would just read when she wasn't feeling well because it's memories of her childhood home. And let me show you. I love this edition. I don't know if all the editions, but some editions have illustrations and it just makes it so charming and enchanting. And this is one that I just think I need to reread. I have other Victorian literature that I'm rereading right now, but I don't know, maybe in the new year. We shall see. I just love this little edition of it. So yes, a lovely slice of life kind of story about a small little town. The next book, I can't talk about Gaskell without mentioning Wives and Daughters. I love the story of Molly Gibson, and you see her as she is in a time of change in her life when her father remarries and she has to adjust to life with a very difficult woman as a stepmother and then also gaining a sister, and how kind of more complicated this makes her life. It is one that is filled with characters that feel so flesh and blood. The Hamley family are a Hamley family. That's another family that you grow very close to in this story. I love the very quiet kind of village feel to it. It's kind of, a country story. And I think the tagline is Wives and Daughters, a story of everyday life. I think that's what the tagline is. Well, I can't find it in the introduction, but I think that is the official tagline of it. So can't recommend this enough. It is a chunker, but just take it very slowly, and I think you will come to savor it and just love it as much as I do. The next one is E. Nesbit's The Story of the Treasure Seekers and the Wouldbegoods. There's also the New Treasure Seekers, which I still haven't read. But these stories, if you have enjoyed the Vanderbeekers series or the Penderwicks, the Henry Huggins, any kind of family series, then I think this is one you would really enjoy. I love the Bastable family, and what's a fun component of this story is that one of the siblings is narrating the story, and they say they're going to remain anonymous, but it becomes clear through different asides that they make just who it is that's narrating this story, and I love it very, very much. And the first one, the story of the treasure seekers, takes place in the city. So I like that feel to that. But then it's nice variety with the Wouldbegoods. They are living in the countryside. And I love kind of just the notions that children can have sometimes and the scrapes that they get into, I find very endearing. And then the next one is the Henry Huggins series, which I just mentioned. I love Henry Huggins so much. I'm so unbelievably fond of this series, and I love how all of the plans and dreams that he has, but then the scrapes that he gets into because of those plans and dreams and the things that he's trying to do. Something about Henry I just find just such an appealing character to follow. And I love his relationship with his dog, Ribsy, who also is part of the reason that he gets into scrapes. And he has such an everyday life, you know. He lives in this small town. He lives on Klickitat Drive, or Klickitat Street. And you see him go to school. He has certain things that happen to him at school, but also with the neighborhood kids, and then different things with his parents. I just love the very everydayness of the stories, but it's the way that Beverly Cleary writes it. She's a fabulous, fabulous writer. And I have another book, then the next one on the series I wanted to tell you about, and that is Emily's Runaway Imagination. So she's a bit like Anne Shirley. She has this runaway imagination. She's constantly making plans and not quite thinking them through all the way, and then gets into trouble because of that. But she comes about everything honestly, and I think that's why I still love the series. It doesn't stress me out that much because I love the character of Emily. I really love her little life, like the Henry Huggins series. Something about it is so charming and calming to me as I read it. Then the next one is Waterfalls of Stars. This is nonfiction. There aren't that many nonfiction on this list, but this is one of them, about a woman and her husband who lived for 10 years on the island of Scomer, which is right off the coast of Wales. The way that she writes about instantly feeling like you have always belonged in a place, that you all have always just been homesick for living here. It's almost a painful bond that she has, almost a physically painful bond that she has. And so at the beginning, she tells her husband, let's live here 10 years because 10 years feels like it will be forever. And then it just flies by. So this is her writing about the 10 years living there. It's so beautiful. It's one that I definitely want to reread in 2024. I loved every second of this book, her writing. There are some really heartbreaking things because she sees firsthand how oil spills directly affect animals that are living in the ocean. So that part is really sad about it. But you do see some recovery and some healing. And so that part is then encouraging and exciting. So overall, though, very life softening. Highly recommend it. And I would love to visit one day. And they do have puffins that live there part of the year. And I just love the sound of that. Okay, then the next one is the Mitford Sisters Mystery Series. So we have 3 Mitford things coming up. And once I thought of one, I thought of the other 2. So the first is the Mitford Sisters Mysteries by Jessica Fellowes. And I would say if you are not a kind of blood and guts kind of person, this is a very safe mystery series to read. It's always kind of, I don't know, clean crime. Not like you want to belittle the gruesomeness of it, of actually someone taking someone's life. But since it's a fictional story, I like to be at a distance from the gruesomeness of it. And I just find these to be such unbelievable page turners. There is a real propulsive quality about Jessica Fellowes' writing. She just knows how to write a darn good story and to draw you in where you feel so invested in what is going to happen. The interwar setting I find fascinating, although we are getting close to, I think World War II is going to be happening soon in the series. So really enjoy it. Can't recommend it enough. The next Mitford series is Jan Karon's Mitford series. And this Mitford series takes place in a sleepy town. It's no connection to the Mitford sisters, whatever. I will explain where she got the name Mitford for the next one. So anyhow, it's no connection to it. Sleepy little southern town in North Carolina. And you are getting to do daily life with these characters. And the first one especially is don't expect a huge plot because Jan Karon kind of wrote them as little anecdotes and wasn't expecting it to be a bigger thing. It was for a newspaper, but then people really enjoyed it. So she thought, why don't I make a novel out of the second one? And I love Father Tim so much. I love this character. He feels so very real to me. And then in the first one, he meets his wife, Cynthia. So I will give a spoiler for that because if you look at any of the other books, you see that he and Cynthia are going to be an item. And you just, this series has my heart. I love getting to see kind of the passing of seasons in this and getting to see the heartache that these characters experience. It doesn't make light of that, and it shows the real burden that some people carry, the burdens that people can have to carry in their life, but still has a tone of hope, and it's very life affirming. So yes, I love it so much. Now, the very kind of mundane quality of the plots was inspiring to Jan Karon the order I'm saying this is all wrong, but Jan Karon's namesake for the town of Mitford is Mary Russell Mitford. So these are the next books on my list. So I'm doing more than 10 in this list, but if it's a series, I just count it as one because that's how we roll. Anyway, so Mary Russell Mitford was around, she's like post-Regency, pre-Victorian, right in that kind of time period. And it is really sad. Her father gambled away all their money. I think it was gambling that he gambled away all their money. And so she started writing to support herself. And my friend Lisa very generously sent me this beautiful, beautiful copy, which I feel like the actual book itself is just as beautiful. Isn't that lovely? And it's just little writings and meanderings, little stories of very everyday things happening. And it's very quiet. So you have to go in. It's not going to be this huge story with this, mind-blowing plot. It's just little happenings, but I find it the most delightful reading. I love it so much. So that's Our Village. This one is it's very easy to find used copies of this. This one, it's the most I think maybe the most I've paid for a used book. I think it was $40, but I wanted it so badly. So this one actually just counts as Victorian. It's 1837 is when it came out. And this one has pen and ink illustrations. Let's see. Let me find you a good one. So, come on, focus. There it is. If I cover up my face, it focuses better. So I love this one as well. Yeah, so just little quiet meanderings. This is lovely to just sip a cup of tea and read a few pages of it at a time. And just take your time with it. So those are the next 10 books that are life softening. And I hope maybe there's one that you haven't read and you would find interesting. Oh, and I have to say that I'm not sure if Our Village might be on Project Gutenberg. The different essays or different chapters from this, Country Stories, are on Project Gutenberg, but they're all separated. So you can find all of the ones that are in here, but they're as separate files on Project Gutenberg if you were interested in that. I hope that you are enjoying this series and you're finding it just comforting and life-softening in and of itself. And I will be back with part 4 very soon, and have a lovely day. Bye.